Hi everyone, I'm Crawford. My vision is to touch the broken lives of humanity in every nation and every country with the salvation message of Jesus Christ. At 5 years old, the abuse started, the mental, emotional, and physical abuse by my father. At 18 years old, I was a full-blown alcoholic and started doing drugs, and that lasted up until I was 22 years old, and I went out to a bar with a girl, and we came off the dance floor, and a guy had pushed her, and I hit him with a glass. Actually, I was drunk. I didn't know I had the glass in my hand, and I cut his face wide open, and almost cut 2 of my fingers off. I went to jail, got charged for aggravated assault and 3 years probation. And turns out the guy was her boyfriend, and they both turned on me. At 28 years old, that's when I went before a judge after being busted with 10,000 hits of ecstasy and 45,000 cash. I used my house for a drug deal for someone. And we got set up, and that was September 23rd, 1988. I was out on bond until January 12th, 1990. I was promised 10 years deferred adjudicated probation, me and my fall partner. When I stood up first, the judge said, "Mr. Crawford, I sentence you to the Texas Departments of Corrections for a term of 20 years. I went on to prison for 20 years on a 20-year sentence, but I asked God when I got there, that's where I was saved, in a prison cell, me, God, and the Bible. I told God if He got me out in less than 18 months, I'd serve you the rest of my life. Well, you'll have to hear the rest of the story. At 31 years old, I went back to drugs and alcohol after I'd gotten out of prison. And an old buddy, after being clean, I'd been clean a year and a half, called me, said, "Hey, you want to go to a birthday party at a club?" And I was doing great, and I ended up, going. And I wasn't as strong as I thought. I got drunk, hit a curb on the way home. I got a DWI. Then I got sentenced to 6 months in jail after I was on probation for the DWI. I failed a dirty UA, went back doing drugs, got 6 months in jail, and thank God they didn't revoke my parole, and I didn't have to go back to prison, but they sent me to a jail. It was a rehab, but it was a jail in Houston, and this is where I ended up rebelling. They put me in solitary confinement. Me and God, I hit rock bottom, and I was going to hang myself with my clothes. And right before, I yelled out to God, "God, if you're real, you got to do something." I'm telling you, within 60 seconds, a card came flying underneath my door. I opened it, and you got to hear the rest of the story. At 39 years old, I got married. I was married up until 47 years old. We were together, and I was not a good husband. I was mentally and emotionally abusive. I was not a good father. And in 2008, I was in California, and my former wife, she took my children, and they left, and I was thrown in a jail cell, and my life really was revolutionized in that jail cell. Me, God, and a Bible again, just like in the prison. And I ended up being extradited. They found a warrant for my arrest, didn't let me out of the California jail. Texas came and picked me up, extradited me back to Texas. And gosh, you got to hear the rest of that story. From 48 to 58 years old, when I was extradited back, I fell more in love with Jesus. I was born again and saved, but I wasn't free. But from 48 to 58 years old, when I was extradited back, I didn't see my children for 2 years. And then for the next 10 and a half years, I saw him less than 10 times. But instead of going back to drugs and alcohol, I wrote 4 books. I did a lot of radio, TV, ministered all over the country. And, God is good. And when we're down to nothing, God's up to something. And when it seems like everything in your life's falling apart, really everything in your life's falling right into place. And then at 58 years old, I was restored to my children. This is the greatest part. I left. I had an opportunity to leave Dallas and come to Georgia and be by my children, be a full-time dad again, be around them, and restoration. It took 12 and a half years, but God's a God of restoration, and I'm in Georgia and with my kids, and it's just amazing how everything's come together. And then at 59 years old, in April 19th of 2021, just a couple of months and a few days ago, I almost died. I came within 1 to 3 minutes of dying. Paramedics carried me out of my room in front of my daughter and my former wife, and I thought I was going to die. I was actually saying my goodbyes to my daughter, and got to the hospital. I had a bowel blockage. I had intestinal infection and enteritis. Some people die, others have emergency surgery, or they go into septic shock. But God took me to the brink of death because there was a few other things that need to be dead in me. So there'd no longer be Clark, it would be Christ in me. And so I thank God for all of that, because now I'm walking into my destiny. God moved me from Dallas to the Atlanta, Georgia area. And listen, I'm excited about what God's doing. I'm not doing it my way any longer. I'm doing it God's way, and all of a sudden doors are opening all over the world. Books are selling, and people's lives are being changed, and it's all about Jesus for me. Hurting people, lost people, addicted people, and I'm excited about the future, and I'd love nothing more than to come share my story to you. God bless you.